Hi, I was going to talk about thira Health Group in Bellevue. They help with eating disorders, and they're predominantly for women, teenage girls, and anyone who identifies as a female. So let's get started. Um, I did hear about this at work a lot. Um, a couple coworkers have actually taken some teenage girls to this treatment facility, so I thought that was really interesting and I wanted to learn more about it. So, the types of eating disorders treated, pretty much like the other ones we've heard about: anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, binge eating disorder. Um, they did not specify disorganized eating disorder, but they didn't say they don't treat it, they just didn't have it as a subset. So I wanted to mention that. And then avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. So the program principles are all based on dialectical behavior therapy. So DBT, whole person care. There's three different levels of care, like a lot of treatment facilities. Um, and even in the IOP, the intense outpatient, or the partial hospitalization, not just in the hospitalization, it's all about whole person care, making sure that everything is being looked at um, as the person as a whole and not just the presenting concern of their eating disorder. Um, and then also a very big emphasis on community and family support. I was really interested and how they would help people that didn't have a strong family support. So I read some of the testimonials and did a little bit of research, and they do have case management too, and try to tie people into support networks if they don't have a big support system themselves. So partial hospitalization we've heard about in some of the other presentations, but it's a little bit different here. 5 days a week, that's pretty typical. But there was a really big emphasis on art therapy, and a lot of people that have been in the treatment facility also did a review and said that like it really stood out to them. So it seemed like more than just like coloring or you know painting. They really hands-on art projects. So I liked that. And psychoeducation, understanding more what's going on, very beneficial, very important that for client-centered and trauma-informed care. Mindfulness movement group and yoga seemed like a lot of people like that, so it didn't seem like it was something that was only done once a month. It seemed like it was something that was very integrated into the program. And meals. So you get the meal therapy like we talked about in class, like not just office, or clinical staff or a dietitian, but also friends and peers and other people in the program to like eat a meal with, which would help. I know I do have a sister that went to a place like this. It was not this place. I do know how important it is to make positive memories around meals. So I wanted to mention that. Who is PHP for? Women, teen girls. The website said gender non-conforming. That was the website's word. But basically, anybody who identifies as female is more than welcome to join. You have to be experiencing an eating disorder. Um, You can also be non-conforming. You don't have to say that you are um, identifying as a woman, but you cannot say you are identifying as a man to be in this program. So I just want to specify you can be gender neutral um, in a sense, but mainly gender non-conforming. Um, if you have any emotional dysregulation or depression or anxiety, you're more than welcome to join. It's not one of those programs where you have to deal with that first and then join. they do understand that coexisting conditions exist. So it's 6 to 8 weeks. It varies on the individual treatment plan and responses. I didn't find anybody that ever, or at least that was listed, that went under 6 weeks. It sounded like pretty much 6 to 10 weeks, unless they stayed longer. So intensive outpatient PM, this is the in-person meetings with teens, 4 days a week, 2 hours and 15 minutes, depending on if there's a break in between. They focused on the expressive art again, the yoga and therapeutic movement class. What I really liked about this one was they had teen DBT skills groups and individual DBT therapy. And then for the third layer, they had parents and teens learn the DBT middle path and interpersonal skill. Since I work with teens and families in my job, I've seen this be very beneficial in helping teens find balance between two extremes, kind of between black and white thinking and existing more in the gray, and understanding that two opposite points of views can exist and be valid. Like, you could really not like something, but you could also want something. Like, seeing the balance between the two. An example they used was, I really am upset about what you did, but I still love you. I don't like that because I don't want it to be like that tough love type shaming thing, but that was an example just to explain more. So, holding two truths, moving away from rigid thinking and being able to see that there's multiple perspectives and solutions to any given problem. This helps with decision making. It also really helps during a difficult time, being a teenager, dealing with an eating disorder and trying to explain that to your parents or your caretakers. It helps to kind of have some help on that journey and to help with your skills and understanding more what's going on, as well as explaining it with your parents. There is a registered dietitian there, and obviously this is only for teens that have consented to allow their parents, to be in the process. So parent education, what I really liked about this, it wasn't just parent psychoeducation, it was parent education and psychoeducation, but they specified where the parents were allowed to come with questions to the group, maybe the next night or the next week, and actually get it answered. So kind of like mentorship for the parents too, to be very mindful about how they're wording stuff with their teens. So I liked that. That was something that was different than the other ones I'd looked into. Of course, DBT, I have to put a slide on it. I know we all know it. But the 4 big pillars that are utilized in this treatment center, mindfulness, distress tolerance, emotional regulation, and interpersonal effectiveness. I know that from a couple people that I've known that have gone to treatment centers for eating disorders, having that interpersonal piece where you can relate to other people with shared experience is big. Now, the adult IOP intensive outpatient, unfortunately, the only option right now is virtual. So you have 3 hours per day, 3 days a week. You get individual psychotherapy outside of the program, group therapy, family support. What's nice is they do the continuity of care between your primary health practitioner and your IOP. So if you have an ROI, they can talk. DBT again, and there's an added emphasis on practical skill building. So it was explained like expanding more on the DBT, like how are we using this, or following up, how did that go? Not really, didn't say like homework per se, but a lot more real life implications and role playing. And then residential, pretty much what you would expect, individual therapy sessions, you get daily DBT skills, customized treatment plans, you get nutrition and physical health, Psychiatric medication management. This is great for people that need medication management. You still get the expressive arts and mindfulness and family engagement. Another thing that I thought was really particularly interesting in this treatment center, they have housing options while seeking care, like what was mentioned in one of our lectures, and they have a financial assistance and a sliding fee scale, as well as a hotel option at extended stay American Bellevue. It's less than 1 mile away. Found it interesting they don't provide transportation, but at least they provide that as an option. Final takeaways, they take a lot of in-network insurance, and a lot of people have said that they case by case take state insurance, but nothing on their website specifically said that. And it did not say it just didn't say it. And it primarily helps women or non-gender conforming but it does not help any men. And so that was difficult for me to see that a whole subset of the population isn't being helped. But they are trying and they are helping basically anybody that does not identify as a man. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys liked it. Bye.